How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We're going to keep this one brief. The SEC is going after a new part of crypto. Let's talk about that and also talk about Buffett selling even more shares. He's growing his cash position. Bitcoin, a little bit weak today, as you can see from the charts. But, we had this little triangle going. Actually, what's interesting, this triangle still holds up. Like, we just need to shift it around a little bit, but we're still in this higher low little channel here. We're still seeing higher lows, which is nice to see. If you want to trade crypto, there's a link underneath the video to Margex. There's also a link underneath the video to WEEX and to CoinW in case you want to trade over there. Definitely check that out. Now, if you don't mind, also hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification so you can see future videos just like this. There is a big Caspa airdrop too. I'm not sure I mentioned that, but over on Margex, they're doing a Caspa airdrop. Let's start here. OpenSea has received a Wells notice from the SEC threatening to sue us because they believe NFTs on our platform are securities. Now, this will have to do with the broader crypto market, but he says, we're shocked the SEC would make a sweeping move against creators and artists, but we're ready to stand up and fight. Cryptocurrencies have long been the crosshairs of the SEC, with companies like Coinbase, Uniswap, Robinhood, Kraken, Consensus having fought against the SEC's single-track approach of regulation by enforcement. But this is a move into uncharted territory. By targeting NFTs, the SEC would stifle innovation on a broader scale. Hundreds of thousands of artists online and creatives are at risk, and many do not have the resources to defend themselves. NFTs are fundamentally creative goods, art, collectibles, video game items, domain names, event tickets, etc. We should not regulate digital art in the same way we regulate collateralized debt obligations. Okay, let's continue on. You can read this at your own behest or if you want to. But this is interesting. I'll raise a couple interesting points about this. It seems like the SEC has lost against a lot of the large companies in crypto that are more traditional. And now maybe they're moving down the risk curve, which is interesting to see. And I think the reason that they're going after companies like OpenSea, first of all, it's just a lot easier. They're not the ones actually scamming people. Like, there are NFTs that scam people, but that's a lot harder to go after, 100 individual companies versus just OpenSea, right? And they know that the people, OpenSea has money if they sue them. So they're going after this versus like the actual people they're causing issues within the NFT space. Also, this is quite interesting because this would be like saying that, I don't know, StubHub sells unregistered securities, right? Like, we just bought tickets for a concert and people buy them and resell them for more value. But the underlying point of the ticket is to get into the concert. Like, that's the main reason that people bought them in the first place. Same thing with NFTs, right? They can make the argument that people buy them to be part of a community or to get in-game items or to, do different things like that. It's not because they're looking to resell them for a higher price. And I think actually NFTs, depending on how they go about this, NFTs, the whole point of them, I think, is less to make money versus something like a cryptocurrency and more to get the underlying asset that allows you to do different things. But obviously it depends on the people's reason for buying, and also maybe there are more items that OpenSea sells that could be considered securities just because they have such a breadth of different NFTs. Who knows? But I do think that this is interesting that they're going after another crypto company after they've already lost pretty much the Ripple battle. I think they've been wrapping up some of their other lawsuits as well. Maybe a final push into the election season, knowing that Donald Trump has sold some NFTs too. I saw Donald Trump say something about persecution of political opponents. He tweeted that today after this came out. I don't know if it was in regards to this because he's actually selling some Bitcoin ordinal NFTs. And then he's also sold Ethereum NFTs in the past. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Maybe it's something else. I'm not sure. Buffett sells another 24.7 million shares of Bank of America, or about $1 billion. Now, I'm not sure off the top of my head what his position in Bank of America was. Obviously, every 3 months, or so. The large investors have to report what they bought and sold. He sold a lot of Apple last quarter as well. It has grown a lot. It does seem like he has a large cash position right now. I forgot exactly what is off the top of my head, but I saw this just circulating. Obviously, they hold a lot of cash. They say be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. Obviously, with the S&P 500 at pretty much all-time highs, with the Dow at all-time highs, with a lot of tech stocks running up quite heavily, they're taking some off the table. I think too, with some of their insurance businesses, they need extra cash sitting around. So I see this, and it's interesting. I like paying attention to what Buffett does, but I'm not necessarily super worried. They sold $1 billion of a bank, and banks just in general are pretty bad businesses. Like I'm not invested in any banks, and I say bad businesses. They're very tough businesses to invest in because there's a lot of risk that you don't know about until something goes wrong. They're very hard to analyze because when you're buying a bank, you're basically buying like their loans, their deposits, that kind of thing. Something interesting that's coming out though, the SEC has voted for funds to report portfolio holdings on a monthly basis instead of 4 times a year. Okay, that would be interesting. We would see 13F filings. I think that's what they're referring to here, every month. So instead of seeing, who added to the Bitcoin ETFs this last quarter, we would know like, hey, the 15th of each month, we know what institutions were buying the month before or something like that. That could be quite interesting and would give us a better insight into what they're buying and what they're selling and that kind of thing. Mr. 100 buying a little bit more Bitcoin. In the video this morning, I talked about how Mr. 100 bought 315 Bitcoin, 316 Bitcoin. Now just bought another 106. I go out to breakfast, and in that time, Mr. 100 buys $6.3 million worth of Bitcoin. That's a pretty regular occurrence. I think he's bought, if you go back the last year, 2 years, 1,250 buys, it looks like. 1,250 ins. That is, 2 a day? Pretty much almost every meal that I've had, Mr. 100 has gone out and bought $6.3 million worth of Bitcoin. Every time that I go eat a sandwich or have a granola bar, he's buying $6 million worth of Bitcoin. Just nuts when you think about it that way. Let me know your thoughts on this, though, underneath the video. Of course, if you want to trade cryptocurrency assets, there's a link underneath the video. Maybe you want to put a long on, like when we touch this line. I don't know. It's up to you, right? I'm not your financial advisor. This is risky. Using leverage in general is risky, but it can also lead to outsized returns. We're still up about 380% in one of our positions here that we timed the bottom on. But of course, do your own due diligence. There's that link also that allows you to get in on the Caspa airdrop. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.